Alright, happy 4th of July everyone. Today we're going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action, talking about the probabilities once again, because that is all it is. I know I had a lot of people clowning on me in last video for longing down here at this low, but that's always why you put your stop loss at entry. The math is the math, the risk to reward was there. We did have a CME gap fill, we had that hourly bullish divergence, we had a failed auction and a swing failure pattern. That was a completely valid setup for a long position, and there's no reason I shouldn't have taken that, and there was good reason to believe that was actually the low. But of course, you cannot predict the future when it comes to the markets. You're not the market maker, so that's why it's always important to put your stop loss at entry and enter at structural levels that allow you to do so. My entry was 59,505, by the way. It was also test net, so a lot of people, I could tell in the comments, didn't even watch the video because they didn't realize it was a test net position. But that's besides the point. I'm totally fine with people clowning on me for whatever. I was somewhat wrong, and it is the internet, so that's fine. Also, just boost the algorithm, so go for it. And you might continue to think I'm crazy because I'm not flipping bearish. I know a lot of sentiment has flipped bearish. A lot of people are calling for, on the weekly time frame, this to be a double top. A lot of people are posting the McDonald's logo just like that, saying they really did it to us. That's the double top, and we're going down from here, right? That's your macro top for Bitcoin. And while I'm not going to rule that out, I definitely think, this double top formation is definitely present. And if it is to align with my thesis that I had earlier back on in the year about that left translated cycle, we would have had that top in April. So potentially the left translated cycle has already played out. The top's already come in. We have already seen meme coins rally. I'm not ruling that out of the equation whatsoever, but I'm not going to get bearish at support because we are at range low support right now, and we are seeing buying pressure resume in the markets, and we still do have a lot of bullish indications on the charts. But I gotta say, we are at a critical level right now. This is certainly a sign of weakness in my opinion, and while my base case remains a big retrace up until that Ethereum ETF, because I do believe markets are going to stay up until then, it just makes sense, on a macroeconomic basis as well, when you're looking at when the Fed's going to cut, all of that sort of thing. It makes sense for them to hold up markets going into election season. So base case remains we are going to have at least a retrace, potentially going all the way up to all-time highs. But yeah, certainly the sign of weakness tells us that this liquidity zone up here at like 64.5 to 65.5 up in that area is going to be a huge level to watch out for if we do see the meme coins continue to rally and that Ethereum ETF launches Pico top and there's a bunch of euphoria back into the markets because people are thinking the double top is invalidated and we're going to $100,000 plus. Then yeah, I'm going to start flipping bearish up in this area here. So that's still a big level to watch for, but I do still think we're going to get up to that level. Let me go over the bullish indications I'm seeing on the charts right now. So if we go to our 1-day time frame, what do we have? We have a 1-day regular bullish divergence on our RSI, higher lows on the RSI, lower lows on price. You don't get these very often, and when you do get them, they usually mark macro lows. In fact, the last time we had one of these daily divergences was all the way down at like $25,000 right down here before we put in our last low before the bull run started. You can see here lower lows on candle closes on the daily time frame, higher lows on RSI. As far as I'm aware, that's the last time we had one of those daily bullish divergences. I'm probably wrong though. I'm probably missing something in the charts, So if there is another daily regular bull div on the RSI throughout this price action, let me know. I'm sure I'm missing something. But yeah, clearly just based on that, it can be a very good indication of macro lows coming in. Does that mean we're going to have the next half of the cycle where we just rip on up to $300,000? Not necessarily, right? But I would say a daily bull div is a good indication that we're not just going to fail this and just start rugging, potentially all the way down here. I think our bigger volume is actually more at like that $38,000 to $40,000 level. I think if we lose support here, this 50K level is not going to act as much support. Yeah, we could get a bearish retrace up top, but yeah, losing this, not going to look good, and that's why I really do want it to hold. But I really do think it's going to hold, and not only is this daily bull div telling me that, but if we look at where the bottom came in, it was right at the previous range value area low within here. I had the value area high marked out. That's what this box is for here. Value area high up top, sweep level here. We originally had a perfect kind of sweep of that holding value area high. I really thought this would have been the low, and I actually entered another long on the sweep of this liquidity here, but we did go ahead, fail that once again. I got stopped at entry again, always got to put stops at entry, and I was not able to re-enter on the point of control or value area low because I was asleep during that time. So hey, maybe we go up now because I wasn't able to get into a long position. But yeah, essentially we found really strong support at this value area low, getting back above the point of control, and the important part is that we are now holding above the sweep level of 58.2 from this previous low back here, as well as actually going all the way back to this kind of fair value gap we had in the charts. from this wick. I know it's kind of hidden from this volume profile, but you can see here the sweep of this liquidity into that fair value gap. So yeah, turning all of that testing of the value area low point of control into just a wick on the daily time frame, getting back above this liquidity level is a proper swing failure pattern, and it would be valid to take a long here. The only reason I'm not going to is because I've got most of my money in alts right now. I'd rather hedge short than try to chase longs right now, and the risk to reward just isn't here for me. Having to use that wick as invalidation, you're looking at almost a 3% drop on Bitcoin. Not interested in a long right now, and the fact we got this low is actually not that bad. You could argue that this is now creating more liquidity just to the downside, right? It's that sign of weakness that's creating these poor lows within here. But what I do like is that we swept the daily wick low from right there, that I just drew out, as well as this value area low actually made a lot of sense to go ahead and test, because if we look at the top side of our range, if we were to pull from the local range high, just how I had pulled from back here at 56, you can see this is local range lows from the pixel low to this uptrend. If we do the same sort of uptrend from our highs here, pulling our fixed range from first high at the beginning of March to the secondary one in mid-March, you will get the value area high, which is sitting right up here at 72.94. And if we do look at where this volume profile landed us, you see that the tops pixel touched that level when we did come up to that 72K region once again here for that secondary high in this double top that everyone is calling for. So if we found support at our previous top end range value area high, why wouldn't it make sense to find support at the previous bottom end range value area low? So that is the level we went ahead pixel touched right here. So I do think getting down there made some sense. I don't think it is structurally bad to do so. While certainly could be a sign of weakness, the taps on value area high up here were a sign of strength. So that's why I had continually called for push up here on Bitcoin. I didn't really expect to get this low, but with the taps on both sides of the ranges, I would say it's now very 50-50 as in deciphering whether the bulls or bears are in control. And that's why if it is very 50-50, kind of makes sense to at least come up to at the midpoint of this range where you do have all of that liquidity sitting, and then the market will decide here whether it is truly bearish or if it is bullish. So those are my thoughts on that. People are also talking about in the Discord where are levels to the downside if we are to potentially roll over here, and as you can see we have liquidity just below 55,680, so this could be a level that gets grabbed and we come back up. You could still consider that kind of a bullish correction, at least for a retrace up here. That's definitely not out of the question at all, and we do have another big liquidity level to the downside just below $50,000 from these poor lows back here. I will say though, if this is to get tapped, that's no longer a bullish correction, and while you would get a retrace, it would probably just back test the range lows before rolling over. So really don't want to see that get tapped, because at that point you're almost guaranteed to target your lower volume and liquidity levels. This is where your big support is really coming in from that 58 to 44K level in here. I do expect when we enter the bear market, we'll probably kind of waffle around in here for a bit and then have a bear market rally up into wherever it wants to go, probably to test this range low once again before rolling back over for the true bear market, which I do believe is going to throw a lot of people off guard, because I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin going under the previous bear market lows at like $15,000, but that's just in a Great Depression scenario and in a scenario where the US dollar does not collapse. There's so many different catalysts that can move price in certain directions, depending on if people are perceiving it as a risk on or risk off asset at the time. But that is so far ahead of what we need to be thinking about right now. So let's just see if we can hold this sweep level at $52,000, and assuming we can, let's see if we can reclaim the value area high into support. And then once we start squeezing on up here, we got to be watching out for those inefficiencies in the chart that we can see over in trading light. So let me go ahead and pull this over here. These are some more levels I posted in the Discord to be watching out for with this kind of structural change and sign of weakness. We want to see if we can actually reclaim these two single prints up here and not just turn these into resistance. Likely for price to come up here just to take out short positions, right? And that would still be a bearish correction. So we want to make sure we're actually reclaiming this stuff, flipping the sweep levels into support, all the volume levels we can back into support, after filling these single prints, preferably just kind of squeezing all the way up. So yeah, definitely watch out for these single prints from about 59 to 59.9 and 61.6 to 61.8. Another thing we see over here on Trading Light is just a whole bunch of order book support. And I gotta say, these are probably spoof walls, like market maker walls. They seem to be that recently because it's summertime. There's not a whole bunch of traders in the markets right now. It's just everybody's on vacation. These bigger walls do seem to just be kind of market makers spoofing the order books to push up price, but certainly more bullish is that we do have tons of buy walls below us, so price is not going to want to accept any lower within here unless these walls are to disappear. And currently finding support on this 58.2 sweep level. I love to see it. Let's see if we can get this confirmation up higher and get the daily close up here. We only have a couple more hours for this daily close, and assuming we can close above this sweep level, which I do believe we probably are going to do, then yeah, that's extremely bullish, right? Sweep of liquidity on a daily bullish divergence after not even grabbing your top side liquidity. I cannot just flip bearish like everybody else is doing in the markets right now, which you can actually see here on Exo charts. First of all, I know the price action is like super tiny up here. This is because I normally have this on my vertical monitor over here on the left. So I'll go ahead and minimize that OI and CVD for you, because all we need to be looking at is the net long versus net short. And you can see throughout this entire downtrend we had on Bitcoin between Binance, Bitget, and Bybit, they were just continuing trying to long this downtrend, going against the trend, and eventually you kind of knew they were going to get squeezed out of the market. And when they do get squeezed out of the market, right here we do see them give up on longing. They attempt it kind of one more time here, and then they get flushed out again, and they just completely kind of give up. We don't really see longs opening at the lows here, but we do see a lot of shorts opening, right? A lot of shorts started kind of panic selling after we had this big capitulation from longs. And while this was going on, you see price starting to trend up while shorts are opening, showing big absorption. And the fact that all of our longs have been squeezed out of the market tells me that liquidity is not really to the downside anymore, and that up is certainly more likely here, especially because we have a ton of shorts open that haven't been squeezed out of the market yet. So as price comes up here, let's see if we do have some bullish continuation from longs, or shorts just continue to pile on as price is moving up, or if shorts do immediately close out of their positions on a squeeze up into the single prints, right? If we do see something like that, that would get me a little bit more cautious. But until net shorts reset here, I don't really expect this retrace to be over. I think the goal here is now going to be to squeeze shorts after squeezing longs, because Bitcoin moves mainly on a liquidity basis. So that's just another reason I believe the low is in, and we are going to squeeze on up higher. So call me crazy, but that's just the data I'm seeing on the charts right now. And if you do have any questions about anything I talked about in this video, or just want to join the community for this channel, link to my Discord is in the description down below. And also down there, you will find an awesome event for a great exchange known as BingX. So if you want to get some free deposit rewards and whatnot, make sure to go check that out as well. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.